Ready to go. That's my catchphrase. If you haven't picked up on that yet, it's at the beginning of most of my videos the last couple of years, and that's how we're going to kick it off. So, ready, set, go. So the thing that we're going to look at now is this this idea of where my mouse is on the screen. So it's often really difficult, I think, for some folks that are, especially if they're artistically inclined, and I'm not quite sure why, but to kind of remember where their Cartesian coordinates. Plus, in the case of the canvas and processing, 0, 0 is at the top left, and positive y values are going down, and positive x values are going to the right. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of create a little function that we can use throughout all of our programs that we do. When we create a new function, it's really nice to be able to just copy that and use it throughout. So I'll paste the code that I end up writing from this, but it's really a good thing for you to fully understand this particular code. There's this one and a couple other little tricks that I can offer you that will make probably placing objects a little bit easier. So in this particular one, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new function. And we're going to call it a function because that's how we do it in JavaScript, which is what P5JS is. And we're just going to call it where is my mouse. And I'm camel casing. So if you don't know what camel casing is, that means that each letter that I make, the first letter of each word in this function name has a capital letter, so it's like a hump each time. So when I'll do that often. You can do a underscore if you like in between them. I find underscores kind of frustrating and just seem to take up a little bit more space. So I tend to camel case my variables or my function names, and I always start with a lowercase first, and then I will maybe try to make it as verbose or as clear to read as possible, as we always want to make our code that way. So here I've got where's my mouse, and now I'm going to do an open curly brace and a closed curly brace, and you'll see that throughout this I will say end of where is my mouse, and I might write it out completely at the end, but I'm making that comment at the end that then makes it easier for us to kind of use it throughout. And know for sure that's the end. So between those two curly braces, I know this is what the function is defining. So this is a pretty easy trick. I'm going to say text, and then I'm going to say mouse x. Mouse x is a built-in variable. If we were to go look inside the reference, you would see that mouse x is a referenced variable, and you can tell that right now because it's showing itself as red. So I know that, or that pinkish color. So I'm going to say mouse x, and then I'll give it a value. So when you're doing anything in text, assuming you've already taken kind of the previous course, this is writing whatever the text is or the variable name, and then the location, the x and y location of where it is. So here I've done text mouse x, mouse y. I go ahead and I hit play for it. And now I should see over here, why is it lagging so much? What did oh, I made a little mistake here. I didn't give an option for a variable to be passed. Anytime you make a new function, you need the open, close, parentheses on either side, and then the curly braces at the beginning and end of your function. Let me try that one more time. Go ahead and hit play. And now as I kind of move around, you'll see nothing. Why? Because I haven't called that function. So here is where I need to now make sure inside of my draw that I say, oops, there we go, where is my mouse? And then no spaces. Now what this is going to do is it's going to call that function, and we'll do this for a couple other functions further along, but this draw is going to run all the time, but here it's going to now say, hey, do that particular function at the end. I go ahead and hit play again. I give it a moment to load. And here now you can see as I move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side of my canvas, you can see that when I'm all the way to the left, it should be 0. And as I move all the way to the right, it should be the full width of my canvas, which if we look over over there, my canvas size is 400 by 400. But as I move all the way over to the right here, now I should be right at 400, and it'll actually count beyond that. So here you can see if I go all the way over here, it says outside that window, it's 517. But this gives me a nice way of kind of knowing where my cursor is in the x-axis. So let's do the same thing for the y-axis. I'm going to say text, I'm going to say mouse, y, comma, and I'll say 20, comma, 20. Now, if I put it in that same location and I go ahead and hit play, it's going to put it right on top of the other value. So as I move, this value here is going to look really jumbled. It's not going to be clear at all what I'm actually reading, because as I move down and over, they're overlapping. So remember, I need to like kind of move this one down. Now, text is generally speaking, if you space them out with this default setting and make it 20, it gives it lots of space between the two. I'll go ahead and hit play now. Oh, I just already did. I'm going to now move it over and back, and you'll see how it's kind of moving from left to right for the top one and down. So if I move over in this corner, I should get 400 in the Y. Now, it's not entirely clear there at the top, right? Because I could kind of mix those up in my head. So here's a good opportunity for us to kind of combine a little bit of text and a variable at the same time. This is something that you might have done before. So I'm going to say for here, I'm going to put in quotes, x, and then I'll put like a colon and then a plus. So what's happening here? I'm taking the, this is really just text. There's no real value to that. And what I'm saying is that x colon and then a space, and then I'm going to have it print out also that variable. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to say quote y colon space, and then add that little string, that text, to the variable. When I go ahead and I hit play on this now, it should, it should tell me I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? Semicolon, colon, what did I do wrong, kids? This is where if I was in a class, it'd be fun. Oh, all of this, I put an extra parenthesis in at the beginning here. Anytime you add a bunch of things together like that, you should put them all together in parentheses, just so all of your text doesn't get kind of confused. Here I'm going to put it on either side, and now play it again. And there we go. So now I can see my x value over here, or x value down here, here, moving around. And honestly, we can do this with all kinds of things. I can even, using that built-in value, I can use the ellipse function and say mouse x, and it's lowercase. This one's also kind of camel case. And then maybe put 2020. So if I make an ellipse at the mouse x and mouse y, and now when I come over, you'll notice that there is actually an ellipse trying to stick with my mouse, although I can move a little bit faster, and that's mostly because the video capture software is lagging my computer just a little bit. But what could also be fun with this as a kind of a pre-artist kind of check, I'm going to do a / before my background here in line 9. And when I do that, I can now run that one. And when I come over, you'll notice that now I'm drawing with it. So this is kind of a fun way to do it. Now, the downside to changing my background here is that if you look here, now you can't read that little, the x and y values. So that's because the background isn't being refreshed each time it goes through. It would be much better if that background refreshed each time, and I think we can find another way to do it where we can still draw and drag our mouse around and have that background shown. So tune in for the next video and you'll see just how to fix that one, if I can stop it.